Hi there, I'm Thomas. In this little video here, I'm going to show you how to set up a quick little commissioning project. We're going to add a couple of pre-functional checklists and a couple of functional performance tests. So let's get to it. We're going to go to the projects, and within here, we're going to add an asset-based project. So the first couple of times, you're going to go through this little guide, which will help you create the project. And after that, you can save a stat or use some of the templates that you can also have. Let's keep it simple and just go through the guide here. So give it a name, continue. Then CxPlanner suggests some different project types that we can help you create. Today, we're just going to go with a construction project here. Selecting that one, then the platform suggests that we can work with PFCs and FPTs. You can call them whatever that you want. That means if this pre-functional, if that's what you want to call them, do that. If you need to add another state later on for IST, you can do that. Just see this here as like a flexible way to define the verification phases that you need to go through on the project. You can always change it later on. Then continue. Then the last little thing here before we're up and running, that is CxPlanner that want to help you create some assets so you can get up and running really, really fast. So let's say we're going to have a couple of exhaust fans and a couple of air handling units, and we can do it like that. So let's say that we're going to have 3 air handling units and 10 exhaust fans. Then create the project. That's it. Now we are actually up and running. As you see here, we have the ID and the name at the top. All navigation is done the sidebar to the left. Let me just remove this. Yeah. So we are at the dashboard, and data will be accumulated as we go on. Then you got task and checklist assigned to you. That's like mainly for the mobile users, but you see everything that you personally been assigned to. Then you got the analytics tab, so all the info and the graphics. Then the task management, the issue log. So this is the standard table interface. When you upload drawings, you also get an option here to mark the issues on the drawings too. And of course, you put in dates, you're also going to see the timeline. But now here, we're going to focus on the asset register with the different checklists. So the asset overview, that's where the assets will be. The global test view, including the sub-items here, will be where the individual checklist will be located. But first, let's have a look at the settings area. So types of checklists, that's where we have the different types. You see, we've got the pre-functional and the FAT. And this is also here where you can change it and you can add additional ones if you need to. Functional. We're going to call it like that. Change the name, that's it. It will automatically update on the rest of the project here. Then let's have a look at the types of assets. So on this project here, we added a couple of air handling units and exhaust fans, and then we have like a default category called general. The count here is that now we're going to format what an air handling unit actually is on this project. So I'm going to do that in the quick method here, selecting the pre-functional, and then I'm going to go over to the checklist templates. And right here, I can search for the template within my template center. So of course, that's going to be yours. And then selecting a checklist and adding that one. The same I could do for the exhaust fan. So select the pre-functional, and then we can, just for the sake of this demo here, take the same template and add it again. So for both of these, we now define that when you add an air handling unit or an exhaust fan, then it must get an automatic pre-functional checklist assigned to it. So just add a functional, so you can see the concept here. So now the air handling unit has pre-functional and functional, and the exhaust fan only have a pre-functional. So let's have a look at what has happened on the project. So going to the asset overview here, that shows the 10 exhaust fans and the 3 air handling units. You see we have the ID in the first column, and the second column is the type, and then you got the pre-functional and the functional. And you see up here, we got both checklists in the pre-functional and in the FPT on the air handling unit, whereas we only have in the pre-functional exhaust fan. So that's what we call like the asset overview, to keep the master overview of the operational readiness on your project. All of the data to the right side here, that can be customized. You can customize it one by one. You can do it in bulk. And you can, of course, also just import a big Excel file or PDF file, and then the CxAI will do all of this for you. But you can watch one of the other videos, tutorials, to see how to do that. Let's move on and have a look at the actual checklist now. So going to the global test view, The global test view summarizes all of the checks from the pre-functional and the functional here. So you see here we've got the pre-functional, then you got the asset type. If I expand it, then you also see we have the different assets and then the corresponding checklist. All main information from the asset interface is also available here. So all the data you give can also be shown here. I think for now, keep an eye on the responsible. That is if you need to assign an individual user, and the company, if it's for a company, you're going to assign it. And also if you're going to assign this to like a group of users. All of this, of course, you can do it one by one, or you can do it in bulk. That's going to be up to you. If you need to schedule when these tests are going to happen. If you do that, then the platform here will automatically generate a test or a commissioning client for you, like a Gantt timeline. What it looks like when we have like the interface. If I was a subcontractor and assigned these two tests, then when I was logging in, I would only see those two tests. So I have a lot of focus on only showing you exactly what you need to see. So I think that is what it looks like to set up a project. Now the project is up and running. We have the assets in, we have the checks attached, and we're ready to import some subcontractors and some from the commissioning team to help us progress forward. Have a good one.